Hey everyone, this is Cameron, the co-host and editor of Renegade Animation on Renegade popculture.com. If you like what we do, please give us a like, a follow, and a rating on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to us. We are where podcasts can be found, and that includes YouTube. So make sure you give us a like, comment, and subscribe on that platform now. If you can, consider supporting our Patreon. That way we can keep doing what we love, and that's talking about the mind-numbingly exhausting journey through 2025's final season of anime. Yeah, we're front-loading this one. Anyway, on with the show.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Renegade Animation on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I'll be your host this evening. Joining me, as always, is the animation guru himself, Cameron.
Howdy, howdy.
And, of course, we've got everyone's favorite Crazy Lemur, Bree.
Hello.
We're a little bit late this time, but nevertheless, we are here to talk about the fall 2025 anime season. And I'll be completely honest, because of life and everything, I was kind of going into the season kicking and screaming. And not just because the past couple seasons have also been a little underwhelming, to say the least.
So, here's the thing. 2025 has been a busy, chaotic, and horrifying year. Not just with, everything happening, because, the world is terrifying right now, and what is going to happen to us is, hopefully we'll get out of this death spiral. What's really just deeply frustrating about this year of anime is that I don't think I have a personal favorite season of anime. I have tons of anime, new and returning, that I have absolutely loved, but all things considered, I would argue this was one of the weaker years of anime, and just a certain group of people within the content creator scene of the anime YouTube or just online social media scene seem to really, of course, before I say this, opinions are subjective. My opinion is subjective. I am in no way saying in any shape or form, or delicious Japanese flavored Kit Kats, that we are in the right here. We are not saying we're the only ones speaking the truth while everyone cowers away. No. But I will say it seems like now more than ever, people are not willing to say, hey, you know what? It is officially too much. And I know we've talked about this before. Too much anime. It's a meme. Put it on a t-shirt. Sell it for $25. It's happening. But it's too much now. It was like we were that little girl in the scene from the Goofy movie at the Possum Jamboree.
God.
Like getting pulled in and having to start the season. It's like, no, I don't want to go through 35 shows. No. And then just getting pulled in and then being like, oh wait, there are actually a lot of really good shows. And there are. This is probably the quote unquote best season, but we're only talking about this in new shows. If you were a returning anime lover, then you had so much to eat this year. Every season had new returning seasons of your favorite or most popular shows. And it's really hard to not feel like the anime industry has now officially gotten to this point. Kind of like how when it seemed like the only thing people went to see were Marvel's cinematic universe movies in theaters, which is not true. That's not true at all.
It was never really true, to be honest.
No, but it's that surface level observation of wow, really, there are fewer original and newer anime coming out, but upload 5 or 12 or 20 different returning shows, even if there's no reason for some of those returning shows to happen. I don't know if it was last year or this year. It again, all this is just blending together. It's the fact that really did we really need another, like, In Another World with My Smartphone when nobody gives a shit about that show?
Ugh.
Someone said, yeah, like, I guess there were, like, it's like that Amazing Digital Circus announcement after the pilot saying, like, we got a world-breaking 1 view. So that means it's enough to greenlight a series. And it's like, okay, we got 2 people to finish In Another World with My Smartphone. That means we can put in the resources that we could use for doing something better and more worthwhile into a second season of In Another World with My Smartphone. Oy.
I mean, Otaku must have been doing, like, double time with that one. Because that's the only thing that would make sense.
A lot of this is, like, first of all, do not blame the animators at all these studios that are getting crunched to death to make these shows happen and to come alive. It's the production committees and the producers and such. They're the ones who make everything happen. Please start directing your anger at those people. Don't blame the animators.
Yeah, never blame the people in the trenches, because they're just doing their jobs, and sometimes it's a labor of love, sometimes it's literally to put food on the table.
It's becoming way more clear that, like, now more than ever, because just how much anime is coming out. What studios and teams are having fun, and which ones are just like, pump it out, it's a paycheck, at least we're keeping the lights on. We might lose sleep, and I might lose feeling in 3 digits of my hand, but screw it. And the fact is, nobody's going to watch half of this stuff. So, really, like, my one major takeaway is that, like, production committees rally up whoever they can to make these shows. And maybe they can get, like, a good studio and a good director or something like that. But a lot of times that's not the case. They'll just get whoever they can to make whatever. And yet, it's like, really? You spent all this money? Like, even though, granted, it's probably like a third or so compared to what, like, a US animation, like, TV show is made on. And it's like, really? That's really? Like, I almost felt like I had multiple crash outs going through some of these shows. And I couldn't finish the whole roster of the ones that we were looking at. That's really, like, a takeaway here. I couldn't finish.
So, Cameron, I do actually have a question for you. I know Mike usually asks the questions, but I'm going to be brave and ask a question for once.
Do it.
Okay, what show made you crash out the most, and why specifically?
Oh boy. So, let's see. I mean, it's like a trick question because so many did. And it's also just conveniently, this was the season where Amazon tried to put up AI dubs of anime and then got quickly shamed for it before they removed them, and the AI Spanish dubs. But there was stuff like Ninja versus Gokudo, which is like this action show between ninjas and crime gangs, and it had the worst animation because it was barely animated, the worst dub, and Amazon continues to use this one dub studio from South Africa, and the acting is always unnatural. Like, it is terrible throughout every dub that they've done. And I'm sure the people there are doing their damnedest. I'm sure they want to put in a good performance. But either they're told to be like, hide your accents, or just pray to God that, like, it sounds good, because it is so wooden. This is like Central Park media level of, we just got some randos off the street.
Ooh, ouch.
Which is crazy because stuff like Panty and Stocking used like an LA cast, so it's like, it's so weird to hear like a modern English dub like not be done in LA or Texas.
Well, it's like when you turn on Ninja vs. Gokudo, it's like, oh, this is kind of like a shitpost parody subversion of these kind of shows. But the stiff dialogue is so distracting. It's like everyone has like the same flat monotone, like level. And it's just funny. That wasn't the only show that did it. Chitose is in the Ramune bottle, has an hour-long premiere, and apparently it gets good because it becomes this subversion of friendship in high school days of yore. But you're forced to sit through an hour with some of the most obnoxious, unlikable, up their own hamster holes, like popular kids in any anime I've ever seen. And apparently, it's supposed to get good by episode 4. No.
Nope.
If you're going to drop an hour-long premiere, then you better justify it, because they didn't.
Like, if you have an hour premiere, I should be shitting my pants by the end of it.
And then, oh god, let's see here. So, I'm going to just go through the list of what anime we've watched. There was With You, Our Love Will Make It Through, Little Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right, phrasing, The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, Wand Dance, Ninja vs. Gokudo, Chitose is in the Ramune bottle, Plus Size Misadventures in Love, A Mangaka's Weirdly Wonderful Workplace, My Status as an Assassin obviously exceeds the heroes, Dad is a Hero, Mom is a Spirit, I'm a Reincarnator. Oh god, these titles. Alma Wants to Be a Family, Mechanical Mary, My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me, Touring After the Apocalypse, Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, The Banished Court Magician Aims to Become the Strongest, Sanda, Inexpressive Kashiwada, and Expressive Ota, Shabake, May I Ask for One Final Thing, Backstabbing in a Backwater Dungeon, A Gatherer's New Life in Isekai, A Star Brighter Than the Sun, Past the Monster Meet Milady, My Awkward Sensei, This Monster Wants to Eat Me, Hero Without a Class Who Even Needs Skills, Yano-kun's Ordinary Day, The Fated Magical Princess, and A Wild Last Boss Appears. Oh, and Let's Play. I think the ones, like, outside of Ninja vs. Gokudo, the one that made me crash out the most was probably Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon. And that's, like, a tiny overall, like, summation of the title, because if you actually went to the, hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah, while you're looking it up, I don't believe you. Like, a third of those titles sound like fucking bullshit that you just made up on the spot.
Half of those titles are adaptations of light novels, which is why they have, like, the ridiculously long names.
Yeah, I know, but that feels like like the Onion version of that. Like, I'm sorry. They're not real.
Well, it's like, nobody knows how to come up with a proper title, because they're like, we gotta tell you what's in the name. And I know this is like a Japanese naming thing for stuff, but it's like, no one does this in anything other than anime. Because here's the alternative title of Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon, or My Gift Level 9999 Unlimited Gacha. Backstabbed in a backwater dungeon, my trusted companions tried to kill me, but thanks to the gift of an unlimited gacha, I got level 9999 friends and am out for revenge on my former party members.
That's not a title, that's like the damn plot description.
Jesus! So, the problem is, again, why are so many isekai and fantasy shows that nobody's going to remember or watch getting greenlit here, and they're like the only ones getting dubs? There are some shows here that needed a dub. Like, Shabake is like this fun little supernatural Edo period murder mystery where our sickly lord has the help of yokai and spirits to help him solve a murder that happens in the first episode. But it's so dialogue dense that it needs a dub. It needed a batch of voice actors to come in and record some lines. But nope, it was like every fantasy show, or even like fantasy adjacent show, almost all of them, that unless they were like a big title or a returning title, got the dubs, when they don't deserve it.
And you know what? Here's the other thing too, is that especially like for the ones that are Crunchyroll exclusive, with the way Crunchyroll's doing their subtitles, I don't trust their subtitles right now. Like, some of those shows need a dub. I'm sorry.
Well, it's like, it reminded me so much of what you talked about when we discussed Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, where it's like so many dubs are like straight translation. There's no means of readjusting the dialogue to flow better or sound natural. And it's not. Like, half of these, like, I'm sorry, while I do say blame a lot of the production committees and the directors and the producer, well, not the directors, the producers of these projects, they're adapting bad stuff. They're just adapting shit for the sake of it. Like, like I said, backstabbed in a backwater dungeon, hero without a class who even needs skills, a gatherer's adventure in isekai. You don't use isekai as a title. You use it's a definition, a term used for another world. Just say a gatherer's adventure or a gatherer's adventure in another world.
Yeah, I don't think I'll remember much of these fantasy shows after we wrap this podcast.
I mean, low-key, I don't know. I don't think I've, other than a little bit of like Konosuba, I probably am the only anime nerd on the planet that just doesn't get the concept of isekai, just doesn't want to watch it. I mean, that might just be like a me thing, but you know, and I was going to bring this up earlier, you know, I kind of feel like there's like this argument that like, oh, there's too many isekai, you know, isekai are dying. Yet we still get so many fucking isekai every goddamn season.
We do, and half of them don't need to be isekais. Like the last season's The Water Magician was a really solid, really fun, and endearing fantasy show. Didn't need to be an isekai. It's the age-old issue of so much anime is getting pumped out right now with so many creatives like eating themselves alive or just cannibalizing through incestuous means of copying one another, that when a truly like standout title pops out through the season, it's like, oh wow, somehow someone got the, oh, what was it? I think the Dandadan creator story where he just so happened to be like working under the editor who also helped with Chainsaw Man. And the guy told him, listen, just create something without thinking too hard about it. He's not, and by that, and so many people get kind of like offended by this take apparently, where the editor is not saying don't think too hard about it. What he's saying is don't think too hard about making something that is solely like for the sole reason of an audience.
Like, don't do the Shonen Jump formula. Just make the manga you want to make, bro.
Exactly. Yeah. Like with Wand Dance, I did not know I needed a choreographed dancing anime about a guy with social anxiety issues through the roof. And with him, like, learning to become more social and friendly with people through dance. And while the CGI is kind of rough at points, it is a visually good-looking show, and the dancing is great. Like I said, the CGI could be better.
That's literally the only criticism I have for Wand Dance, because otherwise, I think you're gonna see this in my top 5 by the end of this recording.
Or like, I'm assuming this one got greenlit because Beastars is starting to slowly wrap up, but they're doing the whole Attack on Titan, the final season thing, where they're like part 1, part 2, part 3, and such. Which, hey, that's fine. They still had a lot to go through with Beastars, but with You, Our Love Will Make It Through, which is about this world where humans and animal hybrid people live together and are like segregated into their own like towns and such. Like, it's about a girl falling in love with a wolf or dog beast folk, and it's not only like a genuinely sweet romance where it actually like takes time to build up the relationship of our characters, it is also horny. And boy howdy, when you actually watch this show, it is like, I'm not going to say it's like one of those like we want to be hentai but we can't because we don't want to lose the funding like kind of shows, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It is one of the few shows that talks about like mixed race relationships and like intimacy in a very like direct way. Like there are moments where it's like they get extremely intimate with one another. And even though you can say, oh, this is trashy, raunchy stuff, there's a story behind it. The themes of discrimination, love, relationships. Like there's stuff underneath. And what's happening is, whether it's because of an editorialist being a dumbass, so many shows are not, like, either the creatives just aren't good enough, or they're doing what they need to stay published and are just doing like what's popular instead of like, I have a really cool idea. Like, for example, which, you know, by the time this comes out, it'll probably be Christmas. Santa is by the author of Beastars. Like, first of all, it is a cracked out show, and you can see why Science Saru got their hands on this one.
Yep.
I don't think Trigger or Mappa could have done this one as well as Science Saru.
Yeah, this show needed... I don't know, like, if there are animators who worked on Dandadan who also worked on this show. You know, same company and all, but this is probably one of the most distinct-looking anime that I've seen this season. And also the story is just insane.
Well, first off, when you look at the visuals of Sanda, it kind of looks like someone's first time drawing anime characters. You know, it's like the female lead in this show has like a head that's a little too flat and a little too wide, which is kind of like what you do a lot when you're trying to make anime and such for the first time. Like, as an American, like those really infamously how to draw manga books.
Oh, yep.
God, yeah.
But here it's like, it's appealing. It looks great. And like here, like the premise is there's like a kid who can transform into a muscular Santa Claus, and he has powers and abilities based on Santa Claus lore. And now it's like, okay, well, how the hell do you make this work? Well, you place the character in a world where adults have a very creepy, pretty much like obsession with children and youth. And the best part about this show is it really does tackle the issues that come with like getting into anime, because most of the time anime is extremely easy to get into. It is not that hard. But there are some things about anime culture, like lolicon and the obsession with like making our characters look as young and babyish as possible and keeping them young. And it's like, you know, you have a harem anime and there's that one character who has like a young, premature looking body. And it's like, oh God. And it's like, really? A kid in the harem? And they're like, no. She's 30. And it's like, okay, body types and discussions aside, it's like the flimsiest excuse to be like, no, our main character is not a pedophile. Calm down. So it's just...
yeah.
And I feel like that's what Sanda is partially commenting on, because it is about the adults in this world who are obsessed with young people, like young kids. And why not have a main character who is like the quintessential young kid hero, Santa Claus? I was kind of trying to see if there was a way we could pull like a chicken run, be like saying like, who is the quintessential children's hero? It's like Mickey Mouse. No, Santa Claus. Like in Chicken Run and such. From the greatest, bravest, freest country in the world, Scotland. No, America.
But I did kind of want to touch on an earlier point that you made Cameron, and this was a thought that just crossed my mind. You're talking about like the incestuous, kind of nature of like so many of these shows feel like they're clones of each other. I kind of feel like obviously like AI is a problem everywhere, but I feel like the anime industry particularly is a very specific danger in that regard. And I kind of feel like that's why in Japan there's been so much pushback.
Like, there have been, like, news stories of when, like some kind of committee, or I remember one, like, some committee for a small farming town was trying to drum up business and marketing so people could come and to this town and such, and they use a anime character from a farming anime. It's like, cool, that makes sense. You want to have your own anime mascot or use a character from a popular show to drum up advertising and potential visitors to come here. They got pushback and fought back against this committee for doing this because they chose the one character from the show who was a female character who, let's just say, was the fan service token character. The one with the biggest boobs, the curviest figure and such, and had all these harassment jokes aimed at her in the show, was the mascot, the face of this marketing push for this town. And everyone in the town was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, no, take that shit down. We'll just make like a walking turnip.
Wow. That is
Yikes.
something.
Like, this happens more than not. Like, it's wild that, like, it's interesting to watch the anime industry in Japan as a whole, like, have an internal conflict of, like, we want anime to be really popular. It is really popular, but we can't make it more popular because we keep running into the same otaku-obsessed tropes and elements that turn away people. Here are 3 shows, for examples. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider, Touring After the Apocalypse, and the Banished Court Magician aims to become the strongest. I'm looking at the anime preview guide. I'm just choosing these 3 right off the bat because they're so close to one another in the guide. Touring After the Apocalypse. 2 anime girls traverse a world that's, the post-war, and humans are no longer on top of the world. They're like in bunkers, like Fallout. And instead of becoming this travel propaganda, like, marketing show, it's like there's a bittersweet somberness to the world of saying, like, hey, this world got fucked over when it used to be so beautiful, and there was, like, people and culture here that was unique to this one location. And it had, like, one of the best episodes of the season in the second episode, where they encounter a half of a robot man who was, like, his whole body was transferred into a robot body. And then, like, I'm not going to say what happens, but it's thematically beautiful, sad. It, like, actually grabs your attention. And while there are, like, anime bullshit connected to it, it's, like, a good show.
I have to agree with you with the second episode being one of the standouts, especially the ending, which I'm not going to spoil, but it will pull on your heartstrings.
And then Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. Okay. It's a show where what if Kamen Rider fans who were, like, LARPers actually ended up becoming the heroes of the show. And while at first they are taking down fans of the villains of the Kamen Rider franchise, they then run into actual legit Kamen Rider villains. And it sounds so cracked out that you're saying, what do you mean fanboys or girls or just fans in general become the Kamen Rider characters that they love? Like, Tojima just wears a basic Kamen Rider 1 mask over his head, and that's it. And yet he is, like, he kicks ass, he fights people, he's great. The female lead of the show wears a full bolt tackle costume from Kamen Rider Stronger. And there's even a guy who's one of the main characters who is, like, the biggest fan of Kamen Rider V3. But instead of donning a costume, he's like, I have the essence of Kamen Rider V3, who is objectively the strongest Kamen Rider. It's really dumb, it's really trashy, but it's also incredibly earnest about its love for the franchise, because Kamen Rider is like the Japanese superhero next to Ultraman and Power Rangers.
Apparently, this is like actually an official spin-off of the franchise. It's not like the same thing as Go-Go Loser Rangers or any of the other like Super Sentai homages and or parodies. It's part of the fold.
And it's like those are fun to get into because it is like we grow up and we sculpt our views of the world sometimes through the media that we loved as a kid. And that is what Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider is. It's all about these people coming together to help take down bad guys. Even if it's the most, like, be lucky that these villains don't actually have guns. Because this would have ended so quickly. But then you get to something like the banished court magician aims to become the strongest. There are way too many of these I got banished from the party stories. Because they don't go further than that. They don't say like, oh, the main character is worried he's going to put everyone in danger, so he leaves the party. Or, no, the main character was an asshole, and the party kicks him out, and he comes back after becoming a better person throughout like 12 episodes. It's always, the party's an asshole, they kick this guy out because they think he's weak, even though he's like the strongest person there, and that's it. That's the whole show. That they don't do anything creative, interesting, compelling. It's like half of these either editorial decisions or creators are like, I have one decent idea and I'm only doing it because it's popular. And then that's it. They don't do anything because there's stuff you can do with shows like The Banished Court Magician, but they don't want to. They have the same premise every single time. I get banished. My party realizes they needed me, but I'm now with a group of people who, like, cherish me. And it's like, yes, I get the baseline commentary of stick with people who will respect you and be there for you and not take you for granted. But it's the same plot every time.
This was the reason why Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon pissed me off when I was watching it, because they do that same thing in, like, the first episode. And I'm beyond sick of that specific trope.
Well, what makes it worse is that this one kind of has a slightly racist undertone to it, where, I mean, I'm not saying the author's racist. I mean, maybe it came out like that, and maybe it is, and maybe they are, but we don't know. But it's like, in a world where there are, like, multiple species, apparently the humans are on the bottom of the food chain, of the totem pole. And he gets backstabbed because he's looked at as the weakest and most worthless in this party. And they try to kill him because they were thinking he was like a human with special powers. And it's just like, oh, so it's very has-been hotel coded. Oh, the good guys in most media are now the bad guys. Man. And what's even worse is the second episode just completely shifts the tone and craps the bed. Because instead of seeing our main character train, they just say 3 years later, he has a harem of powerful female characters that he pulled from a gacha card game thing. I don't know how to explain it. Like, how else to explain it. And every woman in this show wants to jump this main character's bones, even though he's still like maybe 14 or 15. So put everyone on a watch list, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to just get revenge. I want the whole world to suffer, but I'm super chipper and quirky about it. So it's like, what tone are you? You don't want to be an edgelord revenge fantasy, but you still want to be a revenge fantasy with edgelord tendencies. And it just so happens that, oh, the humans are the victims here, not the multiple other species and races in this show. It's like this one group of people treated me badly, so now everyone of this species has to suffer. It's not a great look for the show or its creator and such.
Yeah, no.
Even like My Awkward Senpai. Okay, workplace comedies, not uncommon in anime. Could you do something else other than, oh no, I'm training a new guy and I'm super nervous and crushing on him by the end of it? Anything, like a new twist on it, like Wotakoi's like cosplay and nerd hobbying while young adult dating is going on with the workplace comedy. No? Okay. What about My Senpai is Annoying, where it's like more comedy driven, but it has like really sweet character dynamics between a short woman and a extremely Hulk sized person? No? Okay. So it says shy girl, oblivious guy. Okay, whatever.
Yawn.
Yawn. Nothing interesting. It's not animated well. Or like hero without a class. Who even needs skills? Okay, main character is not born with a skill in a world where you are given a skill by a deity. Okay, well, this is like the Monsters University moral, where one route to success is not the only route you need to take for success. Do you want to do something interesting about that? Oh, no, you got girl harems and your sister wanting to fuck you? And little sister, by the way. So,
because of course.
Yeah. And it's just like, no, okay, man. It's like even shows that have like a creative premise, like Past the Monster Meat Milady, which has like dungeon meshy elements to it, where a villainous character wants to eat monsters, but the whole society and her world are like, get married, have babies. And she's like, I haven't met a guy that I like because I like to eat monster meat and such. And no, that's not a euphemism.
God damn it. You know what? Going back to it, the stuff like Oni-chan, these type of isms. Like, I wish, if you're gonna do shit like that, go full trash, like either Citrus or Ramo. Like, just don't waste my time.
At least with like Past the Monster Meat Milady, while there is a lot of like monster slaying and eating of said monsters, the two leads are cute. They have good chemistry. The acting's great. Apparently, it gets a little worse as time goes on, which is kind of a disappointment to hear. But for the first few episodes, it's like a genuinely sweet show. Or like the best villainous show of the season, May I Ask for One Final Thing, where it's like, what's the villainous plot? Okay, ex-husband dumps me for this pretty, perfect little princess girl. Okay, I have one final request. Can I punch her? And it's like, what? And it's just like, yeah, let me knock her block off. And she does. This villainous character is just like, well, you know what? Fuck all of y'all. I don't care about being regal, fancy, and respectful. Some of y'all need a 10-knuckle sandwich in your face. Like 10-finger knuckle sandwich in your face. And that's what the show is. It's just basically her taking out her anger on the world one punch at a time.
This is the one that I knew in like the first 5 minutes that I was going to love this. And for that reason alone, I think this would make a great companion piece with Rock the Lady's Modesty. Two shows that just completely upend any of the like the usual stereotypes of how females are supposed to be portrayed in like these high societies.
And here's the big secret about how to make a really good anime series. You gotta come close to the mic. I got all the details right here. You just have to write a compelling story and characters. That's it! It's like the secret ingredients in my secret ingredient soup from Kung Fu Panda. It's nothing. It's literally that. You don't have to work hard or overthink things to make a compelling show. A mangaka's weirdly wonderful workplace is wacky and quirky and queer-coded. It's actually a genuinely sweet female romance that blossoms throughout the show. But it brings up the stress that comes with being a mangaka. That's it. No, I'm traveling to a different world or I'm in a weird, wacky harem. It's just a good workplace comedy.
Yeah, and of the two workplace comedies that we got this season, like this one I think is the better of the two because one, as far as I know, they kill the stress of being a mangaka with all the deadlines and just all the personal stress of trying to up yourself with each chapter.
And then there's like even like some of the more flawed shows, but still have like something going on for them, like Plus Size Misadventures in Love, where unfortunately it does have a lot of fat jokes in it because it's about a heavyset woman who accidentally falls off a building, hurts herself, recovers, and does not remember anything about her previous memories or anything about her life, but it's like the most confident woman in the workroom. And it's like, okay, this is going to get a little weird with the fact that, like, okay, enough of the fat jokes. We get it. She's not traditionally pretty. But then they introduce other characters who have their own problems with workplace issues because this show likes to talk about workplace harassment and working conditions or toxic work environments. Because there's like the traditionally pretty female lead of the show who's beautiful, everyone loves her. But it's also like the mental stress you would have to go through because you're expected to be super pretty for all the guys there. That takes a lot. Like, I think I would crash out too if I had that kind of misogynistic stress put onto me. It's like, no, man, I don't want to look pretty for you, dude. You're a douche. Or you just do something, you just change one little story beat. Like, my status as an assassin obviously exceeds the heroes. Starts out, it's like, oh shit, here we go. It's gonna be an edgelord. I'm better than everyone. Isekai fantasy anime, and I don't trust the kingdom. It's like, oh god, is this gonna be like the problem player who starts murder hobo his way through the D&D campaign? Like, the guy has a justifiable reason. It's like, hey, we just got transported to a world unknown to our own and are instantly chosen to be the chosen ones. I don't trust anything here. And yet, the one creative decision, instead of just making him look like a jackass, they justify it. They say he's right. And it makes for a better show because then it's like you got likable characters. Our main lead is actually really interesting and complex. And it does the thing like the Water Magician, where there's like a side heroes, like the heroes party, who are inspired by the assassin guy, saying like, hey, this world and this war kind of feel sus. So they go off on their journey to either do what they can or to find the assassin who's on his own doing his own thing. It just took one decision in the writing department to be like, hey, this is what we can do to make something compelling. It's, God, it's like we have so much anime coming out every season. It's like 50 to 60 shows. And yet so many people are making the same basic mistakes.
I mean, a lot of it is time. I mean, like, on a good day, there's crunch. But if you have, like, a lower budget show, and not, say, like, your Attack on Titans or whatever, that maybe get close to, like, $500,000 per episode budget, it is just, like, an unholy hell. So you have to make so many, decisions on the fly, because, like, already so many different pieces, I assume, have been set into motion with, like, marketing and, like, merchandising, that you just kind of, like, you're stuck.
And that sucks because it's like some of these sounded like they could be fun little premises. Like Alma-chan Wants to Be a Family is about these two scientists who accidentally make a weapon of mass destruction in the shape of a little girl. And they have to not accidentally, they have to pretend to be a couple and where they actually hate each other's guts. And they can't stand one another because they're kind of like on that spectrum of, yes, I'm weird and quirky, but I can't stand people. But when other people are on that same level, it's just kind of like, ew, get the hell away from me kind of thing. And it's like, it could be funny, but then the second episode, it's like, ha, the woman can't cook. Isn't that funny? The woman can't cook. even though it's like 2025 and we're still making women can't cook jokes. What's next? Is she going to not be able to drive? Like, God, like sometimes you see some of those old like Tex Avery or Disney cartoons where, like, God dang, I think it was like a Goofy one where Goofy and his like proto son Max were waving the wife goodbye, and the wife's in the car. Like, you don't see the wife, by the way. It's like driving and like hitting everything before getting out of the parking lot. I mean, the parking spot. And then Goofy says probably the most like freaking yikes thing you could ever hear out of Goofy, being like, "Ugh, she made it out this time." It's like, wow, Goofy.
Oh.
Oh, the 50s. But then it's like, maybe if you only have one joke or one hook for your show, you don't make it a 30-minute show. Like, what was it? There's Mechanical Mary, where, I mean, well, granted, I think Mechanical Mary works as a 30-minute show, even though it is based off of one joke. But then there's, what was it? It was, Expressive Kashiwada and Expressive Uta, where one guy is loud, the other girl is quiet and emotionless. That's the joke. No hidden nuance or depth or interesting things. It's not Comey can't communicate. It's not Aharin. What is the hook? Well, the guy is loud and the girl is emotionless and quiet.
You want to know a great example of a show with, yes, one hook, but like the story and the characters are actually more engaging? Yano-kun's Ordinary Days, where our main protagonist is pretty much like a walking disaster.
Accident prone to the nth degree. Like I said in the group chat, it's basically Milo's Murphy's Law, but with anime. But no, like, keep going, Mike. Because I came into this one late before, I watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes before the podcast recording, and I was like, "This is delightful."
Yeah, I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but I just really love the dynamic between Yano, who his personality is like more laid back, whereas Kyoko is an absolute worrywart. So that dynamic is fun. I made a joke that like Yano is such a klutz that even looking at a banana peel would make him trip over.
Pretty much. It's like the male lead from Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie, but with no guardrails.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Because that was also his thing, that he was like this super sweet, nice guy, but he had the worst luck, and the only thing that was saving him was Shikamori, who, like, there's like a nuance to a character like her, because she was both wants to be super cute for her boyfriend, but she's also like a black belt in Taekwondo. Again, it's amazing how I have to assume that a lot of these creatives and these teams do not have human experience with interactions and friendships and such, because like there are shows like A Star Brighter Than the Sun, which is a genuinely heartfelt, romantic, romance show about a very tall, like, high school girl reconnecting with her childhood friend, and just like this really genuinely like Skip and Loafer level vibe of romance between the two of them. And it just, that really is what it seems like is missing from so much anime these days. There's a human touch, because let's just say this right now. I get a sneaking suspicion that a lot, and not just anime creatives, like creators on YouTube, but animation heads in general love to gas up how diverse and unique and refreshing anime can be, when anime is probably even in a more cynically made box right now than anything else.
Like, that statement might have held some water like a decade ago, but not now.
Yeah, definitely not now. Now anime is if you're not necessarily a seasoned anime connoisseur, you may get the impression that like anime has more stuff like Sanda and less stuff like all of the isekai. But the thing is, because of how these production pipelines work, you're going to get a lot more middling stuff than like the top tier stuff.
Because, and now with manhwas and webtoons getting adapted into anime, it's becoming more like crowded. And which is funny because every time I've seen a manhwa show up in an anime season, it tends to be like the best thing of that season. Or one of the best things. Like the Fated Magical Princess, who made, I don't know why the title's like this. The Fated Magical Princess, Who Made Me a Princess, is about a young, princess who, as a baby, had dreams of the future where her father was going to kill her. So, as a baby to an adult, she is having to work her way around the dreams to make sure that she doesn't end up with the worst ending. And by God, when you look at this show, it is visually stunning. And I have no idea what it is about manhwa adaptations in general, but they have amazing production values, smooth as silk animation, while still having to, stand by the typical anime production pipeline nonsense, then like 90% of the anime that's ever released here in Japan. Because, manhwa are...
Yeah, webtoons is South Korean. But, like, even that, like, just to kind of cut in the webtoons, like, there's more and more other players. And, like, you see Disney and Marvel, like, in the last couple weeks have made, like, deals with them. And, like, independent webtoons are in trouble. I know most of the big ones, like your Soul Leveling or whatever, are, like, the big titles. Like, those are, like, your Shonen Jump adjacent kind of things.
But it's just interesting because it seems like every time there's been a manhwa adaptation, it's gotten, like... It either gets, like, a Chinese studio to produce it or something like that. Because it was like that last season. We didn't talk about it because it was a manhwa adaptation. But you look at the visuals for it, and it was like, wow, this looks freaking amazing. Like, wow. And most anime are not able to get even a modicum of that. And I have to assume it's because they're not greenlighting 50 different shows. They are saying, here's money for, like, we have enough money for 5 shows. Who gets those 5 shows? And I'm not saying that anime has to do that, but when you know when a show is going to be good by the studio that's touching on it, it's like, it makes you think that, hey, maybe we do need to scale back anime production because so much of these shows look like crap, even among anime standards sometimes. And not every studio, like, it sucks because not every project can get, like, studio bones or
Bear, like, we'll fix it on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, exactly. Like, by the way, I forgot that we are still getting what was it? Finally a Blu-ray release of X-Arm, which is like the gaudiest.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah,
excuse me? Oh, I'm pre-ordering that bitch. Where is it?
Let me see. I think it might be out by now, but it's like, what do you mean you're putting that thing on Blu-ray? That was like the ugliest, most unpleasant show to sit through.
Because it's a classic.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It's we have ghost stories at home.
No. Oh God. So it's just like I said, there's so much anime coming out, and I know I keep saying this, but it's so true. It's like, and this, like I said, this isn't even counting the returning shows this season. Like, well, I know One Punch Man season 3 got off to a really rough start, but that says One Punch Man, the production committee's fault there.
Oh yeah, no, 1,000%.
But like, you got Campfire Cooking in Another World season 2, and it's like, it made me really question, like, do we really need to watch all these shows, like the new ones coming out? And it's like, well, if we don't watch them, then we lose the potential of finding new favorites. We can't just say, watch the returning shows. Like, even with Winter 2026, like, yes, Frieren Beyond the Journey's End, Hell's Paradise, and Jujutsu Kaisen alongside Fire Force, Oshinoko, and My Hero Academia Vigilantes will be out by that point. And it's like, yes, you can just watch the returning shows. And I am really excited for Medalist Season 2 because it was like a really good figure skating anime.
Oh, nice.
By the way, I don't know if we talked about this when we talked about Medalist the first time. The guy who did the opening for the show, Kenshi Yonezu, was such a huge fan of the project, of the adaptation, well, of the manga, that he went to the production committee and said, "Hey, I'll make an opening for the show."
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I'm sure got them a lot more funding, because that's like one of those bands where if they're involved, it's a big deal. Like the I think it's called Darwin's Project next season has official Hige Dandism, who did the 100 meters theme and the first Spy X Family theme and what have you. So it's, I don't know what needs to change, and I don't know how, outside of unionizing, what the anime industry needs to do. I don't know, y'all. It's like I'm kind of at my wit's end at points where it's like, what can we do that would make sense that wouldn't completely collapse the industry, like, for the worse? Like, because I love anime, I still want to watch all of it, but it was a chore this year because again, the committees are just greenlighting everything when no, you don't.
Yeah, like we don't need to have 30 new shows. I would be satisfied with like a solid 20, and then just like put more elbow grease into them and make them the best they can be.
And like, yes, some source materials are going to be garbage. That's just going to be the thing, unless the director or creative team is like, can we change a few things to make it a more compelling show? And with the author's approval, of course. Or else you get something like the Ari Ferretta situation where they were about ready to release a show, and then the author of Ari Ferretta saw what White Fox was doing and said, "No, I don't like this. You got to do what it is closer to my source material, or else I'm going to shun and shame this production," like the asshole that he was. And of course, sometimes you can't tell who the authors are, but you can tell it's when this happens, it's usually a guy being an asshole. So, but what happened with Ari Ferretta, just to make my point, was that White Fox was making a adaptation of it, and then after the author shit his pants and got mad, they moved it over to a different studio and had to delay it by 9 months and redid so much of the work for worse. Oh, God.
The one solution, and you know what? It's kind of weird to me that this doesn't get brought up as much. As much as, anime is a global phenomenon now, so much of it still has a domestic focus.
Yes.
They need to have less otaku shows. Like, they need to, like, I know this out of context sounds like really like kind of lame brain, but they need to make more cross appeal shows like Attack on Titan, Solo Leveling, My Hero Academia. Just something that, can translate easily to multiple cultures. Like, I'm not saying do dumb, baby brain juice, but it feels like so many of these seasonal anime over the last 5 or 6 years are meant, no offense, I know this is a stereotype, but dudes who live in the basement, who have, your body pillows, have the very expensive, big titty anime figures, like, they don't have to, sell a lot of units, they, just have to sell a lot of merch to the people who will buy it.
I just think they need to stop greenlighting everything under the sun. And like, how many isekais and power fantasies do you guys actually need? You don't need that many. Especially with the fact that most isekai power fantasy shows have terrible retention rates because some shows are going to be popular and that's fine. But the thing with isekais, they're front loaded. They love that first season, and then they don't return for the second season when they realize, oh, it's just a guy who has no stakes, gets 10 babes, and then that's it. It's like,
And half of the characters in those shows are pretty interchangeable, not just in their personality, if they even have one, but character designs. They all have like the same hairstyle. Like, we don't need to see more of that.
Nope.
and it's also like, stop trying to make self-insert characters a main part of that show's appeal or for the marketing. Well, it's like what we brought up. What was it? Maybe like the last two episodes where I was like, I'm not a small Canadian Asian girl from Toronto, but I freaking loved Turning Red. I could connect to what was going on in that movie. It's not that complicated. And that's the thing here. It's like, oh, but he's got to be this one bland guy who's pretty inoffensive, tall, gets all the babes. That's the only character we can make. And it's like, no, you can't. You can do more. You can do more. You can make them flawed. Like, Konosuba's whole appeal as an isekai is that it's always sunny in Philadelphia. They are the shittiest people on the planet. And yet they somehow saved a day and are beloved, despite the fact that they suck. So, I don't know. I'm at such a wit's end with anime and how nobody wants to say there's too much and we need to push back against the industry. I get it. You don't want to lose your access as influencers, but also like, you can do better. I don't know.
And really, what really do you have to lose by saying, hey, look, there's too much out there? Like, sure, like, anime production companies don't necessarily have to listen to, Joe Schmo off the street who has no say, but if, like, more people push back on the industry and it actually starts to affect their sales, then yeah, maybe then they would have to listen.
I want there to be some turning point where there is like a considerate push to fix the industry, because there are problems with the industry. You can act like there's not, but there are problems. And it's frustrating because for every like 20 bad shows, we come across like 5 really rock solid shows that deserve the attention and are obviously made by people who know how to tell compelling stories in creative worlds and such. So, yeah, it's just, Winter was okay. Like, at best, it was above okay. Realistically, it's just okay. At worst, it's just like the other seasons this year. And I just can't abide by people saying that this was a good year for anime. I can't. A lot of, like I said, great shows all over the place, just not the best.
Like, most of the big anime hitters this year weren't on the small screen. They were on, like, the big screen. Like, for as much as I kind of, like, snark at, like, Demon Slayer, still had some of the best animation of the year, not gonna lie.
Oh, absolutely. That and the Chainsaw Man movie, Reze Arc. Anime, I wonder if instead of like churning out like 30 plus shows on the small screen, that maybe the industry should shift to more focus on the big screen.
I mean, because I think that's what they kind of did with 100 Meters, because I'm pretty sure 100 Meters is a manga.
Yep.
It is. And sometimes that's probably the best way to adapt a manga. You don't need to make it into a show. And sometimes maybe it's just for the best to make some shows short form. because it's like, oh, it's one joke, so it makes sense to make it 15 minutes. But
you know what'd be interesting, and I'm not sure if anyone's really attempted this. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the vertical short phenomenon. I wonder if for in the future that could be a potential for anime to be more just short form content. You know, because I feel like the 4 coma format could benefit in like, you know, a TikTok style like vertical short.
Interesting.
I could see that working. And it's just like there are ways to make like these shows, and who knows, maybe some of these editors who have helped produce and make the best manga that got turned into some of the best anime of the year can have a sit down with creatives and say, this is what you need to do. So we're not just stuck with the same boilerplate bullshit every time. Because the next season's going to have that. I know it's going to have it. And we're going to try out another experiment where we do like maybe our favorite and our least favorite of the year instead of having the same like takeaways over and over again.
I know, because I feel like, because I know technically this is, I guess, a spring show, but they just announced the date. Like, Steel Ball Run is coming out on like March 19th, because I feel like this is going to be the story, because this has been the story for the other seasons. It's going to be, oh, we have this really big, you know, Shueisha title or whatever, just coming back, you know, big fan favorite, or like a really hype adaptation. Everyone will remember that. They won't remember 90% of the other crap that came out. And, you know, if that's your view of anime, like, you know, wow, look at all this cool shit, so much better than Western animation. I'm like, yeah, if you only watch like 5 shows, then yeah, of course that's going to be your view. But that's not the reality of what's actually happening.
Nope.
No, it's the big problem is there's a reason why only a few shows every year like stand out from the rest. And what, like, to me, it's like, yes, I love the big new hype shows just as much as everyone. So, maybe not as much as some, but I am fully on board of Gachi Akuta. Like, give me more. I want more of that metaphorical, literal trash masterpiece show because it's freaking awesome. But I'm also looking forward to something like The Invisible Man and his soon-to-be wife. Like, it's such a weird little premise that I'm like, I want to see what they do with that. I mean, I don't know. It's like, there's more to anime than just the hype titles, the mediocre isekai stuff that flood every year. And I just want creatives to put out the best product because here's the thing. We're complaining right now that with the US animation side of things, they're not greenlighting anything, which is a legit problem. They need to start greenlighting stuff because animation keeps doing well. Well, except for that one Disney show, but I feel bad for, what was it called? Stugo?
Yep.
Stugo. It was another co-production between Disney and Titmouse.
Oh man. That I saw clips of it and it looked great, but we just didn't have time. I still probably want to talk about it, but still, anyway. But with anime, it's like the exact opposite problem. We're greenlighting way too much.
I think what I want to see, just vaguely speaking, within the next 5 years, is we gain some sort of balance between the absolute drought of Western animation and the flooding of anime.
Like, I mean, we'll have to see what happens if that actually happens. But they're just, like, there are things that we can learn from anime that we can use for Western animation and vice versa. But until then, we're just going to be stuck in this weird hot mess purgatory of the American animation industry right now is in a weird bad spot. And the anime industry is in a vibrant, overly stuffed bad spot. So
yeah, a bad spot where the floor could cave in at any moment.
Yeah, or you could just die on the spot and then get transported to a fantasy world. So
and become a fridge or some shit. I don't know.
Hey, man, I will die on a hill. That vending machine in another world is amazing. I don't care how stupid that show is.
Yeah, how about that? If you're gonna do more isekai, at least make them stupid, like the good stupid.
And some of them do, and then some of them take them into weird directions. Like there was this one, maybe last year or 2 years ago, maybe, because this is when we had Teresa as our guest, where it had amazing, dynamic, comedic animation, but then was stuck with a older sister who was hyper obsessive with her brother kind of plot, and it's just yeah, I know it sucked. It was like, look at all this great dynamic shot composition. Oh, the plot sucks. So anyway, let's get on with it. Mike, what were your 5 favorite shows this season?
All right, we're gonna go with the obvious one for number 1, Sanda. Then I would do Dad is a Hero, Mom's a Spirit, and I'm a Reincarnator. May I ask for one final thing? A Star Brighter Than the Sun and Wand Dance.
I think I have to go with You, Our Love Will Make It Through, Wand Dance. Oh God, I hope I have enough for 5. I think I do. Touring.
Oh, you have more than me.
Touring After the Apocalypse, Sanda, and tough for this last spot. A tie between Yano Kun's Ordinary Days and The Fated Magical Princess.
Nice.
All right, I will say I need to watch more, but based off everything, I feel like the 2 that I'm gonna get, the most out of, I forget the title, but like the Omegaverse anime and Sanda, because you 2 know me. Look at my avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean with You Our Love Will Make It Through? Yes.
Yes.
That's the one you're thinking of. And
yes. I'm sorry. Now I'm just thinking about, Lindsay Ellis's video in the Omegaverse.
God, what a weird video and journey that story took. I still get a huge kick out of the judge being like, what the fuck is this? So you're suing her because of this and that? Oh, God. It's like, out, everyone out.
My favorite part is, because Jenny Nicholson, I think, did voiceover in that video, just hearing Jenny Nicholson, which... it's amazing that Jenny Nicholson is the only person from, like, the My Little Pony days that didn't turn out to be a major fucking weirdo.
Oh, God.
Right?
Miracle in a handbasket, y'all. YouTubers can sometimes be good people. So anyway, next time we're going to probably take, of course, the holidays off and then do a catch-up episode where we talk about some movies that we missed that include the apparently surprisingly solid SpongeBob movie, The Twits, In Your Dreams, and if we're feeling it, what was it called? Night of the Zoopocalypse or something like that? That got like a surprisingly decent like reception and such.
Yeah. We'll see where that's streaming or if it's available digitally, but I am interested in checking that one out.
It's funny because it's like, as much as we talk about like, oh God, the US animation scene is dire as hell right now. Theatrically, of course, like speaking. And then we're like, one of the biggest standouts was this little movie that came out. So yeah, that's what we're going to do next time.
And until next time, Bree, where can everyone find you online?
Do they want to? Anyway, you can find me at Crazy Lemur, .bsky.social. I am also on Instagram at Lemur's Rule 1, where I post food pics, puppy pics, just general good vibes. If you want the unhinged Brie, go to Blue Sky.
And Cameron?
You can find me on Blue Sky and X at camsiview.biz. I have my own website called camsiview.biz where I review films and shows from around the world called The Other Side of Animation. I am getting back to it. I had a little bit of a burnout era. So I am going to get back into that. I am also a contributor to Media Magpies, where I write film and animation-based editorials. And I have a Patreon at patreon.com/camsiview. That's where you can find me.
And you guys can find me on various social media sites at Captain K42. You can also find my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Blue Sky at Renegade Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube at Renegade Pop Culture or YouTube at Organoid Zero. You can also find us on Podchaser, and consider supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You need an escape, so do we. That'll do it for this episode of Renegade Animation. We will catch you guys later. Peace out.